Dan Larson here at the Photobooth with some of the incredible gifts I received for Christmas recently. Up first is Faron. Faron sent in the McFarlane Toys Goddess Special Edition in the fish tank right up front here. This is the best version of this figure you will find. Awesome wings, and the fish tanks are fun. McFarlane Toys did a whole bunch of these collector edition in the fish tank display cases. Somewhere at some point. Different paint apps, different accessories. I don't think she came with these wings originally. I might be misremembering that, but this is definitely a unique paint application for this. But if you don't want to keep the figures in there, if you decide to take it out and you want to just use the fish tank, these cardboard pieces, the decorative sorts of parts can come off and you can put anything you want in there. Don't put fish in there because these don't actually seal together, and I don't think it was... Hey, maybe you can make it work. Maybe that's a whole different episode, but I'm not going to cover that here. Thank you very much to Faron for sending that in, wrapped with a card. Warm holiday wishes to you and yours. Thanks to Faron for sending that in. Happy holidays to you and your family and friends. Faron, in the back, on the left and the right, from Mrs. Toy Galaxy herself, the Godaikin Sun Vulcan Robo. Technically, this is the second time that I have received this in my lifetime for Christmas. Technically not the Godaikin version. This is the first time I received the Godaikin version. The first time would have been living in Japan in the early 80s. My brother and I would have received the original Japanese version of this, which I do still have, technically. Mine has seen some love. It's seen some good times and some bad times. It's got some wear. His little ear flap thing here, his head, helmet, horn, whatever you want to call it, one of those two things, it's broken off. He's got some chrome missing here, some chrome missing here. There's a repair I did to it years ago where it cracked right here, and I super glued it back together. Missing his fists. He's loose, but man, it's my favorite Sentai. My favorite Sentai from the early days when I was first getting introduced into Sentai. I don't want to go too much into what my favorite Sentai is now. There's too many things I like about different Sentai, but it's incredible. I had no idea that this was something that she was arranging to get for me. It's a near complete Godaikin version of the bot, which for all intents and purposes is the exact same robot. It's just in different packaging. This one is near complete. It was missing... I think it was missing a missile or two, and then it was missing the shield. So this shield is actually my shield from my original robot, and it's missing the little L-shaped handle on the back, but that's something that I'm going to find eventually. This thing has never been played with. I can assure you... Well, that's not true because I played with it. It had never been... It looked like it had never been played with. I can't say for sure whether or not it had been taken out of the box before I took it out of the box, but I took it out of the box for sure to check it out. I mean, I still have all my old accessories. Well, some of the old accessories here. This is my original sword, and this thing is beat, especially on one side. It's practically got no more paint on it whatsoever, but I still have it, and that's awesome. But these things just look like they look like they were made yesterday. It is an incredible piece. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that thing, if I'm going to take it out of the box and display it, keep it in the box just because it's so gorgeous, and just keep this on one on display. I really don't know how I'm going to handle that. I'm just... The crazy thing is that, having lived in Japan for 3 years, everything came with shooting fists and shooting missiles. Everything shot missiles. This thing's got like 4 different places that you can shoot missiles out of it. And we had a whole bucket, just like a paint bucket that was full of little yellow missiles that you could just shoot out of every single, Japanese toy that you had. I still have my, I don't have the big, there was a shark, there was a giant Vol-Jaguar, I believe it is called. Yeah, Vol-Jaguar. Like transport robot ship thing, cruiser, I don't even know what to call it, carrier, that would have transported the Vulcan Robo to the battlefield during all the episodes, and it looked like a shark. And they made this thing, full size to actually transport this toy version, not just this tiny, collectible version, which is the one that I had. And this thing, again, this thing is beat, it's broken, this is broken off. There's like a button here that opens these 2 back pieces. The little robot, Vulcan Robo that goes on the inside here, he's gone, long gone. But I still have this thing, and it's great, and it's like 60% die cast, and that's awesome. Just an incredible, unexpected, super happy holiday gift from Mrs. Toy Galaxy, who knows me better than anybody else. Also, from Mrs. Toy Galaxy, we have vintage Kenner Boba Fetts, number 409, starting here. 410, 411, 412, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 418. Those all came from Mrs. Toy Galaxy. Obviously, huge thanks. She spoils me every year. Although I will say, technically, she does own everything I own, so this is sort of a self-dealing thing for her, but still, I'm the primary beneficiary of all that stuff. Number 419, this one here. Oh man, he lost his stand. Hang on. All right, 419. There we go. Who's super discolored, just the way I like them. I mean, I like them all, obviously, but that one's pretty good. Anyway, Justin sent in a letter saying, Dan, I'm a huge fan of you and your channel, Toy Galaxy. From the history of series to the top 10 lists, I've spent many hours enjoying your episodes when I should have been doing work. I appreciate the effort and time you put into the shows, and I've learned a ton. Your passion is evident and infectious, and your sense of humor perfectly matches mine. I'm thrilled to know that this Boba Fett will now be part of the Boba Sett, and I wanted to give to you as a thank you for what you do for the collecting community and for entertaining me and sometimes making me cry. For instance, in the Why I Sold My Collection video. Have a Merry Christmas, Dan. Justin, thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you as well. After that, we've got number 420, which comes from Dan Bowen, a.k.a. Danbo Shinobi. You can find him at Instagram. I'm getting ahead of my lights here. It's having trouble lighting. You can find him on Instagram, his action figure photography and his cosplay photography. Find him on Instagram at Danbo_Shinobi. Always great to hear from a toy collecting Dan. And then on the end here, number 421. 421 comes from a friend of mine, Adam, who was recently at his parents' house cleaning out his old room, his old bedroom, and when lo and behold, he found his childhood Fett, which he generously gave to me for Christmas, admitting that he has always been more of a Star Trek fan than Star Wars. That is, I say it too much, very much appreciated. I hope it hasn't lost its meaning. It truly means a lot to me when people give me their childhood Boba Fetts. I would never ask for someone to do that. But when it happens, it really, truly does mean a lot. Lastly, Joe from Ohio, like all over Ohio, sent in a ridiculously giant box of stuff. Most of it will be covered in a non-holiday haul video, but there were a few things in the box that were specifically Christmas gift wrap for me, producer Greg, and for Mrs. Toy, even for Mrs. Toy Galaxy. And actually, if you want to just give me a second here, I got to adjust this camera a bit. That should do it. Producer Greg got some horror movie DVDs and an issue of Starlog. I don't remember exactly what movies they were, but Greg seemed pretty satisfied with the selection. I can only tell you that I have never seen any of those movies and probably never will. Producer Greg likes horror movies, and I do not. Mrs. Toy Galaxy received a bunch of My Little Pony stuff in a My Little Pony metal lunchbox. Pony stuff. A definite home run with Mrs. Toy Galaxy. And for me, Joe included some customs that he picked up over the last year of visiting just a whirlwind tour of shops and shows around the state of Ohio. First up, we have... Hang on, I got to get my notes for this stuff. Because he didn't just pick up the figures, he kept a log of everyone, where everyone came from, and picked up the promotional materials for all the shops and dealers he met along the way. The first is a reproduction. There we go. A reproduction J-slot Boba Fett in a sweet custom box. Here's the figure. Hang on, he lost his rocket. There we go. And about the figure, Joe says, this is what started the whole box of stuff. Saw it on eBay. Looked like it was made out of Jolly Ranchers and gummy worms. Feels like it too. He's right. It does. It looks delicious, as all translucent figures do, especially Boba Fett's. But his arms are a bit soft, a bit gummy. Not sure if that's part of the process for getting something like this made. You know, the hard torso, the soft limbs. I've seen different customs where they have the magnetic limbs. This one actually has them connected, so I don't know if that's part of why that has the soft limbs. Also included here is this figure. This, Joe says, is came from a vendor at Columbus Toy Show. He makes all these different custom Star Wars figures and G.I. Joes. I always buy something from him. You can look him up on Instagram at HypnoShield, Hypno Shield. HypnoShield, all one word. This is a custom resin cast. I believe this is from the G.I. Joe hydrofoil, and then, of course, the body is a Boba Fett. Arms look like they come maybe from Ugnaughts, I'm going to guess. And then, of course, he's got the whole rocket and everything in there. And supposedly it glows in the dark. I haven't checked it yet. I'm going to take his word for it on that one. The next piece here, we've got... let's see. This is, it's not a Boba Fett, but a custom pin of my favorite battle beast. Of course, Pirate Lion there. And of course, he's translucent. This was found at the Cincinnati, Cincy Toy Show. And on the back, you can see here that he's sort of cut in half. And then he's got the pin back there. So that's a nice piece there, as well. And then the last couple of pieces here are the, stand those up. Let's see. Joe says, found it Indie Midwest Toy Fest. Guy had a bunch of custom magnets and keychains. So, of course, this Boba Fett mask here is a magnet. As you can see, it sticks to the keychain ring here. And then, of course, this is a translucent Han and Carbonite keychain. So that's just an amazing bunch of stuff. And, you know, to top it off, Joe did send in some Fetts for the Boba Sett as well. Hang on, let me grab them here. Actually, let me slide these guys out of the way here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 24 vintage Kenner Boba Fetts. And, you know, the crazy thing is goodness gracious, each one of these figures has provenance in gorgeously handwritten, meticulously cataloged detail with dates, locations, and everything that I will gladly, happily add to my already existing catalog of figures for the set. He's got business cards for the shops where he purchased the stuff. We got Road to the Past collectibles. That's in Cincinnati. We've got the toy department. That's in Fairfield. We've got Queen City Comic and Card Company. That's in Cincinnati. O'Smiley's Dolls and Collectibles. That is also in Cincinnati. We've got Saturday Morning Heroes. They're on Facebook and Instagram, Saturday Morning Heroes and Saturday Morning Heroes Toys. And then, of course, Mike's Vintage Toys in Springboro, Ohio. Mike has actually hooked me up several of times. I follow him on Instagram and have bought many figures for the Boba Sett from him. So this is not the first time figures have found their way into the Boba Sett via Mike's Vintage Toys. As incredibly generous as this is, like I've said before, there was a lot more stuff in the box that Joe sent that we will cover in a future Dan in the Photo Booth segment. And if you want to see pictures of all these figures, including everything in the back here from Mrs. Toy Galaxy, Justin, Danbo Shinobi, Adam, follow me on Instagram at Toy Galaxy, as I'll show pictures of those as I go through them and log them individually in my catalog. Hey, for now, Joe, thank you very much. I hope the holiday was as rewarding for you as it was for the Boba Sett. Whatever that happens to mean to you individually, health, happiness, friendships, family. As for the Boba Sett itself, we were planning to do a 400 video. but this holiday has moved us well beyond that, and we're just going to take the idea that we had to produce that video and move it up to the 500 video, because that seems like it's going to happen a lot sooner than anticipated. Thank you to Farhan, thank you to Mrs. Toy Galaxy, Justin, Dan, and Joe, straight out of Kenner Country in Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you for watching today and all year long. Hit like, hit subscribe, check out our Patreon if you're in the position to help the channel grow. Thanks. Later.